Say that one more time.
We define AI
yeah.
as giving computers tasks that humans used to do.
That they don't like either.
They don't like
tasks that they don't like. I just love that. Like that, take away the mundane, boring tasks that we don't like to do. So it's not like the scary part where it's going to take away your job. No, it's going to take away all the shitty parts of your job. At MBA Chartered Professional Accountants, we have 3 core beliefs. 1, we believe that business owners are the most important people on the planet. 2, we believe that the traditional accounting firm business model is flawed and fails to serve you. And 3, we believe the MBA way gives you what you truly want and deserve, resources and advice that helps you grow your business and your life. This is the MBA Way podcast. Hi, everyone. It's Eric here, and welcome to the MBA Way podcast. Today, I am really excited to introduce you to a great colleague of mine and great friend. Like we're in the same coaching program together, and he's got some amazing value to bring to you today. It's all around artificial intelligence. It's AI. You hear the buzzwords everywhere. It's about AI this, AI that. But Evan Ryan has created an incredible business. He's the founder and the CEO of Teammate AI. It's a company that specializes in showing businesses how to automate boring tasks so they can expand their teamwork and scale their impact. And the wonderful thing I love about this and what Ryan's approach is that he goes, it doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't have to be nasty. It doesn't have to be overwhelming and scary. It can actually be quite simple and easy. And for those of you that make sure you listen to the end of this podcast, because we have a special resource just for your MBA listeners and the listeners of the MBA Way podcast that has this great resource that we're going to give you, but you have to wait till the end of the podcast. So there's my little teaser. How'd that go? What do you think about that, Evan?
I thought it went well.
Okay, good. All right, great. So tell me, where are you right now? Because you're like this nomad. You are all over the place. Like you just asked me where I was. I just came back from vacation, but you're like almost on it's like, I'm a big heavy metal fan of the 80s. So it's like, Aerosmith is like permanent vacation, right? It's like you're on a permanent vacation. You're always somewhere else. So tell me where you right now and where have you been in the last little while?
Yeah. So I'll share where I am right now. At the end, but I just came back. I just flew in from Spain a few days ago.
All right.
I travel all over the world. I'm a digital nomad. And so in the past several months, we've been throughout Europe. We were in Mexico City. We were in South America. We were in Thailand and Singapore and Japan. We fly all over. It's really wherever the wind takes us and we can get an Airbnb is where we go. But right now I am in Northwest Ohio. So I am in farm country. It is farm as far as the eyes can see. It's hardly the most exciting place that I've been, but we had to be in Ohio for a couple of vacations.
So it's like one of those things where it's like, hey, it's going to start raining in 3 hours. Why do you say that? Well, because I can see it coming.
Absolutely. Yeah. Just miles and miles and miles of farmland.
Yeah. I've been to Mexico City. It's incredible there.
Incredible.
But you just said about Thailand. That's somewhere I haven't been yet, and I really want to go. What's that like?
Thailand is unbelievable. It was one of the highlights of our year last year. The people could not be nicer. The people are just so unbelievably nice. The food is incredible. The weather is unbelievable. We spent 4 weeks on the islands south of Bangkok, and then we spent only a few days in Bangkok. And we haven't made it to the north yet, but we're going to go back and go do it. I think the culture of Thailand is incredible. I could not recommend it enough.
Okay, when you say we, who is we?
My lovely girlfriend and I, we travel together.
Oh, okay. Great.
And she is a graphic designer, a freelance graphic designer. So she has her own business. I have mine. And we just kind of go where the wind takes us.
That's awesome. And so the whole time you're actually running Teammate AI from all over the world. And that shows you the power of using AI. But I think there's a misnomer. There's a misunderstanding with a lot of business owners. And that's what I wanted to do on this podcast. I really want to help showcase that it's not as big and scary as everybody thinks, or it doesn't have to be as complex. And you have this really easy way of moving businesses into the idea of automation and just how much it actually helps them. But I want to go back. I want to do Scooby-Doo editing, like let's go backwards in time. I want to know how you started Teammate AI. Like, how did you get into this?
Yeah. So when I was in college, I was a student at Ohio State, and I was always really good at science. I was always really good at kind of like that hard process type of stuff. And I was very good at biology. And so I entered Ohio State as a neuroscience student. But I started volunteering at a hospital because that's one of the things that you have to do if you want to go pre-med and then go to medical school. You have to do research and volunteer at hospitals, all sorts of stuff. Anyway, I was volunteering in a hospital the day before my first year at Ohio State. And I stopped at the nurse's station. I looked around. The walls were all gray. The lighting was horrible. And I noticed that nobody was happy. So I said, I am not going to be a doctor, but I had absolutely no idea what I wanted to do. I decided to stick with neuroscience because I figured if anything is going to help me, it's going to be understanding how the brain works. At least it'll help me with my own brain. Right. Yep. But as I was a senior in college, I went to a technology conference where at the time they had the world #1 ranked researcher in AI, and they actually rank, talking about all the stuff that you could do with AI back in 2016.
Okay.
And he at the time had a company that could better diagnose breast cancer from CT scans and MRIs using AI than a team of board certified doctors.
And I thought, like, this was like 2016.
2016.
Yeah.
I thought, if this is what you can do in 2016, I can't imagine what you're going to be able to do in 2050, but I'm going to get into that.
Right.
And the only problem was I was a neuroscience student. I didn't know how to code. So I taught myself how to code. I started building some programs. And then I started the company after that. And that was really because I think I was always kind of born to be an entrepreneur, but I tried to get a conventional job and nobody would hire me. And where,
dude, I got to interrupt you there because you know why? If you're a business owner and you're listening to this podcast, you know this for a fact, you're unemployable. If you're an entrepreneur, you figure out as soon as you possibly can that you're unemployable, then you know you have to go start your own business.
It's the only way that you can feed yourself.
Yeah, it's the only way because no one will hire you because you're unemployed. Right. Like you're just going to be a pain in their ass, right? Yeah, yeah.
Well, yeah, and I mean, even like I think now, like would I hire me? If somebody came in, they were interviewing for a role in my company, would I hire me? The answer is probably not. No, they should go start their own company. Yeah. I'll start a company that sells a great service and I'll buy that service. Anyway, so where the company developed was that I really love doing fun stuff and I really hate doing boring stuff. In fact, I've actually never met somebody who loves to do boring stuff all the time. And so for us, we really developed using AI just to automate the boring, repetitive stuff in our business and in our clients' businesses so that our clients could grow their companies, they could grow their teamwork, they could grow their collaboration without necessarily needing to grow their payroll or their headcount. For us, it's really how can we free up the best members of your team? How can we make your high performers even higher performing thanks to AI and not needing to spend time doing the useless but necessary activity that they've been doing for the last 5 years, 10 years, it takes 10 hours a week.
Right. And that's that. And you know, I'm sorry if you talk to anybody in any organization and said, look, if you could take all the stuff you hate and we can automate it, would you like that? So you could just do the stuff that you love. And I'm hard pressed to find anybody who would say no. Right.
Absolutely.
Like hard.
Absolutely.
Like it's like, oh yeah, thank you. Yeah. Pick me. Like I'm in. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't understand really why a lot of the folks that are out in Silicon Valley and some of these new tech companies and a lot of the people that are kind of selling confusion through AI, they really love automating the creative activities. They love automating writing books or essays or blogs. They love automating art. They love automating design and those kinds of things. But most people love doing those things. Why aren't we automating the stuff that we hate to do, like sending the follow-up email for a sales prospect? Why aren't we automating the stuff that we need to do, like taking data from your Stripe or your Keep or wherever it is that you're currently processing transactions and putting it into QuickBooks or into Excel for your financial forecasts? Right. Those kinds of things are great automation opportunities because I've never met somebody who loves doing data entry into QuickBooks. They tolerate it, right?
I've met a few accountants too.
On the data entry part?
On the data entry, like literally, they're like, I really love just entering data. I was like, okay, well, then we won't have you doing any client analysis, right? Like it's just you crunch the numbers. Like, so that's,
I guess maybe my accountants.
oh man. Like, so you see, I mean, and we're going to get to this part. And this is the thing I love is that you simplify it down. You simplify the concept of AI because it's out there in the world. It's like, I was listening to the All In podcast. You ever listen to the All In podcast with it? And they're going on about, like, the last one they had, they were like, oh my gosh, the way that they're automating movies and all, like, you're talking about the creative process again. You're automating which is the creative side, which is what you and I don't subscribe to that. I mean, our mutual business coach is Dan Sullivan from Strategic Coach. I mean, he's about, no, human creativity. That's what makes life worth living, right? We get to create stuff, but you're about simplifying this and saying, let's just automate the boring stuff, the repetitive stuff. Once we can clear this up, then it can work better for the company. So do you have any examples? Like, I want to talk about examples of businesses that you've worked with where you've taken that simplified approach and then what's happened for them. Like, tell me a little bit about that.
Absolutely. So let's take, for example, a real estate investment company. Yeah. So this company, they go out, they raise lots of money. They have billions in dollars of assets under management, but they need to find new opportunities. So they're looking for properties to be able to buy. Now, humans could be doing that, but then in terms of going to the websites and checking the various documents, and most of the time you go to the websites, you're looking for properties with certain criteria, with certain ranges, and most of them aren't going to be great fits.
Majority aren't
going to be great fits.
I've done a ton of my own underwriting on the apartment buildings and blocks, and I've done a lot of that underwriting, and it's like, you got to kiss a lot of frogs to find your prince. Let's put it that way.
You do. But what if a computer could do that for you? So the computer is not making the decision, but what if the computer could go out, look at the 500 opportunities that you were going to look at, and then categorize them based off of, hey, we think that this is a great fit, we think that this is an okay fit, and we think that this is a wrong fit for the business. Right. It's not replacing the humans. It's just entering the humans into the equation when you really need that intense due diligence. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. When you really need that intense kind of creativity, that gut feel, that like human knowledge to know this is a great property for us to consider. This is not a great property for us to consider. And so even when we talk about data entry examples, it's not about replacing the human. It's never about replacing the human. It's about saying, where can the human drive even more value? Where can that client experience get even better? Because instead of the human spending so much time on task A, they were able to really be a partner with their client, or they're really able to be a partner with their team as they're looking at investment opportunities. They're able to think even more critically, even deeper about the situation or the obstacle or how they're going to overcome wherever they're at.
Yeah. You just kind of triggered something in there in my head, because I thought, what if you could free up your team from the repetitive, mundane tasks so they could start thinking more creatively and solve more problems? Like, because nothing's more frustrating at all with business owners is like, you've got this teamwork at people and they do stupid shit. They do stupid things. And you're like, what were you thinking? But when you look at it, you go, if you're constantly bombarded with 400 tasks that are mundane tasks all the time, and then you have something that comes in that's really important, your brain is in that mundane crunch, and you're okay, fine, just get that one out of the way, get that one. Like, that's where mistakes happen. But what if you could just like clean it up and free up their minds to think and create more? Like, it's not about making. I say this all the time. Like, so with my business that I had with the Accountant Success Formula before I came into MBA and started working with them and showing them the model, I said, you want to have excess capacity in your business. When I mean excess capacity, I mean, you want room to think and grow. Like, so all our teammates, we want to make sure that everybody's not overworked so they can be free to create more value for our clients so they can think more. This is what I see with you with the AI. It's like you take away all of that and it frees them up. Right?
Absolutely. And yeah, I've worked with several accounting firms over the course of the company's history. And what I would love for my accounting firm to have automated as much of the mundane as they can, so that their team can be focused on anticipating my future needs, can be proactively reaching out saying, hey, is this an obstacle that we think that you're going to be, this is an obstacle we think you're going to be overcoming here soon or facing soon. let's help get out in front of it.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with law firms are another great example. With law firms, automating document creation, like most of the documents are largely the same.
Yep.
How can we automate the document creation so that the humans are focused on the nitty-gritty details? They're focused on delivering a 10 times better client experience, because the billable time isn't necessarily coming from, although it can come from the creation of the documents. It's coming from being my partner in my success. And the same thing with accounting firms. The same thing with payroll firms, lots of different service-based companies. I think freeing up the mundane creates real partnership collaboration opportunities with your clients.
Right. And just, so our listeners can understand where I'm coming from here. This is Ryan and I have been in this conversation. For MBA, our focus has always been on the client's life and what they want to build for themselves. And then providing the advice and the support under our model so they can call us whenever they want. They can have they can have their life built, and we're the partner with them. We've been, and by freeing up our model, like, we have more time to breathe and think. But we want to expand this even more. And that's when you and I started talking about it. And I'm like, so that's what we're going to be working with you at Teammate AI to go come in and help us automate even more of these processes. Like, we've changed the model, that's fine, but let's change the processes and free them up even more, right? Free them up even more to be able to deliver more value to the client. And so I just thought of something else here on a side. Where do you see, because most business owners that I talk to now, they're like, we can't find workers. We can't find people. There's like this, and especially, and in the accounting profession, it happened. There was what's known as the Great Resignation after COVID. There was this Great Resignation, and everybody went, I'm tired of this sick and tired Monday, and poof, the bottom dropped out. And our business owner clients, they have a hard time finding business. They don't have any staff. They got no one to do it. I see AI as the ultimate savior at this time where we have this drop in HR, a drop in employees, where AI can start filling in that gap.
Absolutely. I am 100% convinced that the arguments around AI will take all of our jobs is not really that important of our argument yet.
Yeah.
I think that it's much more important to be using AI to replace all the job postings that can't ever get filled. And so this happens all the time in our world. So companies have job postings. They're looking to hire people. They need to hire an assistant or another assistant or whatever it might be. And they just can't seem to do it. Or they do, and they spend all the time hiring and all the time training, and then it turns into a high turnover position because it's not that much fun of work, or the hours aren't great, or the pays can't be great. And so people end up looking elsewhere. And instead of, for the business owner, just kind of being stuck in this revolving cycle, all the time we have clients coming to us saying, what can we use automation for? Mm-hmm. So that we can get the most bang for our buck and not need to be in this revolving cycle. Not need to be like kind of stuck in these chains of either having low caliber talent or not being able to fill the role.
Yeah. And here's something I really want to highlight, which I love. I love this about Teammate AI and your messaging out there, is that there's so much fear. Like, our news stations, they like, don't get it, that we could go down an entire big rabbit hole on this one, Evan. Like, I mean, I can't stand news stations because they're always about the negative. It's always about fear. They sell fear. It's uncertainty, selling fear and uncertainty. And I love the fact that you said, no. AI isn't going to take away our jobs. It's actually going to be here to help. It's here to help us. Use it. Think of it as a partner with your business to bring it together, right? It's not a fearful thing. It's not something to be scared of. It's something to actually embrace and use it. Use the parts that you want. That's the first part. And the second part is, I think what a lot of people, when they hear the word AI, they think of, the Terminator. They think, here comes, I'll be back. And, it's Skynet. And it's going to take over the world. And it's, a lot of the stuff that you do isn't necessarily this the big language model, AI, chat GPT stuff. It's actually just, we call it automation. But it's like automation that's been going on since the beginning of the industrial. Like, it's like Ford. He's created the assembly line, which was automation, which was an automation process. There's a ton of shall we call it AI that you do that's not really technically AI. It's just automating mundane, shitty tasks, right?
Yeah. Yeah. In fact, we define AI as just giving computers tasks that humans used to do. And
say that one more time.
We define AI as giving computers tasks that humans used to do.
That they don't like either. They don't like tasks that they don't like. I just love that. Like that, take away the mundane, boring tasks that we don't like to do. So it's not like the scary part where it's going to take away your job. No, it's going to take away all the shitty parts of your job.
Yeah.
And it's not, it's not take away. It's help, invite it in, be a partner with it. Don't be scared that it's going to take it away. Actually use it to help take away the pain parts of the business, right?
Yeah. And everybody's actually already done this. So the new technology that's great, but it's a tool on the tool belt. Everybody's already done this before, because when you're working with clients, you're no longer probably, or most people are not mailing physical tax returns anymore.
Right.
Instead, they're e-filing, or they're uploading to a cloud. They're uploading to the cloud. So you've already used this before, because you used to have big filing cabinets full of pieces of paper.
Yeah.
And now you have cloud-based documents. That already is giving a computer a task that a human used to do. Now you don't need to walk over to the filing cabinet, go find the file, pick it out, do whatever you need to do, put it back in, close the filing cabinet, walk back.
Right. Right.
And so what we're talking about with this new age of AI is just a much stronger, much smarter tool belt to be able to help us give computers more tasks that we couldn't previously give computers, or where it wasn't cost effective to give them computers. Now it's much cheaper to give computers these tasks than it used to be.
Right. And the computing power, again, to come back to that, is going to go exponential. Like we got exponent, like the amount of computing, the amount of investment you need to put into computing power to get the same kind of result today is going to drastically drop. It's like when you think about it, like here's, like, what is this? This thing that I'm holding here, my cell phone. For those that are listening to the podcast, not watching, I'm holding my cell phone up. This cell phone, there's a picture of my kid when she's a little one. Isn't that cute? Look at that. This has more computing power than, like, in the 1960s, it would have taken 2 or 3 warehouses of, spinning wheels just to do probably half of what this thing does. I'm probably ruining the quotation there, but I mean, it's massive power. But here's the thing that I really want our listeners to be able to have access to, which is, how easy is it to get started on this? It doesn't have to be a big scary thing, and it doesn't have to be a big, huge investment, but I really want people to be able to get started on this, right? And so, let's maybe talk about what you do with businesses, because I want people to understand what Teammate AI does, like, and how you do things. And then what I want to do is obviously give our listeners this access to this great resource that you and I pulled together, that when you showed it to me, I looked at it, I was like, holy crap, this is amazing. Right. So, but let's talk about what you do with businesses. I want to understand your model, so people understand that, after they go through and get this incredible resource, so they understand it, they can maybe reach out to you and start working with you. Because, like I said, we're going to do that at MBA. We're going to be working with you. I think more business owners, if they realize it's not big and scary and how much it will actually help them, they'll do it. So tell me a little bit more about your model and how you help business owners.
Yeah. So we just help our clients take inventory of what are all the tasks that you're actually doing.
Right.
What are all the things that you're really doing? And then also take inventory. How much do you like it? How much do you hate it? And we're going to take the stuff that you really hate to do, or the stuff that your top performing team members really hate to do. Mm-hmm. And then we're going to sit down and watch those team members, or watch you do the task. Our goal is not to make you and your team conform to the computer. Our goal is to make the computer conform to the process that you and your team have set out. So again, we're giving the computer the task the human used to do, not making the human adjust to what the computer needs. So we'll watch you as you're doing the task, and then we'll get everything ready to automate, so that when we automate that task, when we apply code to that task, you can have complete faith that we've covered all the corner cases, that we've covered how the process works. Probably we're going to know your process better than your team will. but you can have complete faith knowing that when data comes in one spot, or when your client needs to update their financial projections, or when the QuickBooks needs to be updated in one spot, that out the other end is that perfect report, that perfect QuickBooks update, that perfect projection, whatever it might be, according to the data that we have. So we both help clients prepare the automations and really understand what those processes and identify the right process. But then second of all, deliver the automation itself.
Right. And this is the thing that I do business strategy. I've got multiple businesses that I work in, and it's always, I'm a strategic advisor. And one of the biggest things I share with them, which is, again, a concept with Dan Sullivan at Strategic Coach, which is why I resonate so well with Dan and what he teaches, is this who, not how process. It's a who, not how thought process, which is like, don't go and do it all yourself. There's somebody out there, there's a who can do the how for you. And that's what I love about this AI and the service that you have. It's like, you're the who. You come in, you follow everybody, you like ghost walk, you're following behind it, you're shadowing the process, you shadow the whole process and go, okay, this is what you're doing. And then you say, okay, here's all the tasks. And then the other part I love is that you say, what do you love and what do you hate? So you don't want to take a bunch of stuff away that your staff love to do. You want to take away the stuff they hate to do. So your team is on board. They're excited because they're going to be part of this. But you as a business owner, you don't have to put time and resources and try and get your expertise around how do you automate these things. You bring Evan and his team in and they can do it for you. And they can, but it's to customize it to your business. So it's not like trying to fit a square peg into a round hole, right?
Yeah, that's exactly right. And I don't recommend, especially if you're an accountant, you've been a great accountant, you continue to be a great accountant and partner with your clients. Why bend yourself out of shape to try to become an AI expert or an automation expert? It's not your unique ability. Continue to be a hero to your clients. Think just as the technology continues to develop, as the roles continue to not be filled, as you want to free up your best team members to continue to even do better work.
Yeah.
You can partner with folks that really understand the intersection of your process and the technology.
Yeah. And here's the wonderful thing. This is the thing that we're doing at MBA and this is why we started the MBA Way podcast, is that we believe business owners are the most important people on the planet. Okay. Without entrepreneurs creating new value and creating jobs and creating revenue that then creates taxes, which they collect and give to the government, and the government does social programs, our whole system collapses. I mean, everything you look at my picture here was created by a business owner. So we want to support them as much as possible. But I was like, how can we do that? We stick to our lane and we know what we do, but we then go and we want to help our clients get the other specialists to support them. This is why this is why I love this podcast that we're starting up, is like, I get to highlight you and go tell our clients, it's like, you gotta see what Evan can do for you. Right. And I want to highlight what you do, because I know, and here's the difference for for professionals in general. I think a professional knows what they don't know. Okay, that's the definition of a professional. So I know this, I don't know that, but I know it's an issue for you as a client. So I want to make sure I go find another who to help you do that how. And so whatever we can do at MBA to support our client, our business owner clients, we want to do that. And so that kind of, you see how I kind of segued that one just kind of perfectly. I'm now going to get us down to the drum roll. What is the resource we're talking about? Like, I want you to talk about how easy it is for our clients and our listeners here to start with AI. Like, what's the resource that they can get, which you've so beautifully put together? So let's talk about that.
Yeah. So we've put together a resource for you, and it's just meant to get your feet wet with AI in a really comfortable, safe, kind of easy to experiment environment. So we put together, first of all, a starter kit. A starter kit is all of the common AI tools that are out there, how we use them, how we don't use them, and then also some examples and some exercises for you to be able to really understand, okay, I can see how these things start to work. Even if it doesn't apply to me, I at least can understand a little bit about how these tools are operating, so that you can demystify how the AI is developing. You can demystify those important parts. We also have tons of strategy videos, of walkthrough videos of me literally walking through how I use the different AI tools or how I'm thinking about AI. Whether it works for me or it doesn't work for me, I record it and I put it on there. So we've got tons of tutorials. We've got an activity log for you. The activity log is a great tool to help you track everything that you're doing. And then also a great tool called the email focuser. This is how I save 5 hours per week just on my email. No AI required. It's just a great kind of manual on how I structure my inbox, on how I have some inbox rules, but I save 5 hours a week on it.
Yeah, I love that. I love that tool. And I've watched a bunch of these videos. And the one that I love is that you're working with ChatGPT and you're walking through and you're asking it and the key is prompting on ChatGPT. It's not the answers that are more important. It's the questions you're asking it. It's how you're prompting ChatGPT to work. And I love how you're walking through it and going, okay, I'm going to try this. And you go, well, that didn't work. Well, let's try that. Okay, this does work. Okay, well, that's a little bit better. So it's fantastic resource. And again, I love the way that you're simplifying this complex area of AI automation. You're bringing it down, and it's kind of like you're being I got to be careful how to use my words here, but you're the opposite to what the news does. The news is about scaring people and creating uncertainty. What you're doing is you're taking that, you're saying, no, it doesn't have to be that difficult. No, it's much easier than you think. Here, check this out. It's easy to get started with it. And when you're ready, I can help you implement it. I can help you and analyze it. Or if you want to go do it yourself, fine, go do it yourself. Like there's more than enough resources here on this resource page that you put together. If you want to, you can go do it yourself. But if you don't want to, you get Evan and his team to come out and help you with this. So I love it. I absolutely love it. And so here's it. And it'll be in the show notes as well for on either side, but I will say it out loud for those who are listening. It's teammateai.com/MBA way. That's the URL. And so, it's not going to be hidden or secret anymore. We're going to put it on the podcast here, but I want as many people as possible to get to this because it's an incredible resource. And again, it's teammateai.com/MBA way. And that will give you that. And again, there's no selling, there's no upside, there's no kickback to MBA. Really, we just want to, the whole purpose of the MBA Way podcast is to showcase thought leaders, business advisors, and other clients to show our business owner clients that there's resources out there to help them traverse this nuance, this gong show of running a business. I mean, you've run a business, you've created a business. It's not easy. Running a business isn't easy. It's not for the faint of heart. It's only for those who are unemployable, really, when you think about it.
Yeah, it is. And, I think, especially from an AI perspective, the thing that's most important is that people are thinking about it, they're using it, and they have a productive way to think about it. They have a productive way to experiment with these tools, to start to get their feet wet. It's a technology that has already been here. And so we know it's not going away. And our hope is that we can make it your partner, your teammate, your collaborator. We can make it something that frees you up instead of making it a competitor to you.
Right. And you just said something that triggered something there in me, is that it's not a fad. It's not like, oh, I don't want to spend the time and effort on this latest fad technology because it's going to go away. No, it's going to improve, but you get to pick and choose which ones work for you. And automation isn't going away. It's going to increase. And you want to be able to embrace it and adopt it in a way that's not scary, but that it works for you. That's the big thing for me on business owners. It's like, it's your business. It's your business. You get to decide what you use. You get to decide what you implement. You get to decide to say no to what you want to say no to, right? It's about I really like empowering people to be able to make their own choices, especially being a business owner. You have that power. You can choose what you want to do or not do with the business, right? So I love that.
That's absolutely right. And you get to design the technology to help you. and to advance your goals. And so hopefully through the starter kit, through this podcast, through everything else that you're able to find, you can really design the way that you want to be integrating these tools and continuing to integrate these tools into your life so that you end up having the technology work for you instead of working for it.
Awesome. Yeah. That reminds me of a thing that I often say. It's like, if you use a tool right, it works well for you. If it's using you, you're the tool.
That's surprisingly accurate.
And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, I think we're going to end this podcast. So, Evan, I don't see this being the last time we do a podcast together. I'm going to want to bring you on lots. And because there's going to be a lot of changes coming in the future, and I want to be able to call on you to come and keep our listeners apprised of the changes in AI. This was kind of like, I want to call this was our first introduction to you and the AI support that you can provide our business clients. But I think we're going to have a lot of changes coming in the future. I want to have you back on the podcast. So, if you'll come.
Well, I certainly hope so. Thanks for having me.
Okay, right on, Evan. Thank you so much. Okay, so there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Well, I hope you enjoyed this podcast. And remember, again, if you're a business owner or an accountant who feels like you deserve more out of the accounting profession, please reach out to us, give us a chat, or give us a call. I'd love to have a chat with you, always do. And we'll see you next time. Thanks.
Well, thanks so much.
If you're a business owner or CPA who believes the accounting profession has let you down, then please reach out to us at www.mbacpa.ca so we can have a chat to see if we're a fit to work together. We're always looking forward to talking to you. See you next time.